Before the eyes close at night, there is a door few recognize, a door that opens not to dreams, but to creation itself. Neville Goddard, the mystic who shook the world with his teachings, revealed a secret, not a ritual with candles, not a prayer whispered into the dark, but a simple act of imagination, performed in the moments before sleep. He said, "What you feel is true. In the silence of night, you will awaken to in the light of day." This video is not theory, it is instruction. A clear, step-by-step guide to using Neville's technique to invite wealth into one's life. Not tomorrow, not next year, but beginning tonight. For those who stay until the end, there will be more than knowledge. There will be practice, and practice transforms everything. The secret of the night, when the world grows quiet and the weight of the day settles into the body, something extraordinary happens. The conscious mind, busy with worries and lists, begins to loosen its grip. Thoughts grow softer, images become more vivid, and the invisible border between waking and sleep approaches. Neville Goddard called this moment sacred, because here, in this fragile state, the imagination is most powerful. Why? Because the rational guard, the part that insists things are real or not real, begins to fall asleep, and what slips into the mind in this space sinks directly into the subconscious. Imagine planting a seed. In the heat of the day, the soil is hard. But at night, the ground softens, welcoming what is placed within it. So too with the mind. At night, the soil of the subconscious becomes fertile. It accepts suggestion. It welcomes assumption. It believes what it is shown. Neville revealed this if, before falling asleep, one assumes the feeling of already being wealthy. The subconscious accepts it as fact. And once accepted, it begins to rearrange reality itself, bringing into experience the reflection of that assumption. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. It is the same law that governs every dream, every memory, every manifestation of identity. What the mind assumes as true, the world mirrors back. But here is the tragedy: most people drift into sleep replaying their failures. They review debts, they imagine lack, they fall asleep rehearsing problems instead of promises. And night after night, they plant seeds of scarcity in the subconscious, then awaken to the harvest of their own unconscious creation. Neville's secret was never about money alone. It was about power. The power to choose what seeds to plant before sleep. The power to decide the story that tomorrow must echo. And when this is done with wealth, when one goes to bed, not as someone hoping for money, but as someone already possessing it, the subconscious takes that assumption and makes it flesh. This is the first door. The recognition that night is not the end of the day, but the beginning of creation. If this truth is already stirring something inside you, don't let it fade. Subscribe now and stay close, because the next steps will reveal how to turn this secret into practice. And practice is where lives change. Why sleep unlocks creation. Sleep is not an escape. It is not simply the body's way of resting. It is the portal through which imagination steps into reality. Neville Goddard often reminded his students, the state entered before sleep determines the shape of tomorrow. Why? Because the subconscious never sleeps. It works endlessly, taking the impressions left upon it and weaving them into experience. Think of it this way: the conscious mind is like a sculptor with a chisel. All day long, it carves thoughts, choices, and reactions. But when night comes, the tools are set down. The sculptor grows tired, and yet the statue continues to be shaped, not by conscious choice, but by the impressions left behind. The moments before sleep are the final strokes. The last vision, the last feeling, the last assumption carried into the night becomes the blueprint the subconscious follows. If that last feeling is fear, fear multiplies. If it is lack, lack expands. If it is wealth, wealth begins to form. Modern science even hints at this. Neuroscientists have discovered that the brain replays memories and emotions during sleep, strengthening whatever is most vivid. Neville knew this long before research confirmed it. He understood that the subconscious magnifies whatever is fed to it in the twilight state. But here is the key: it is not empty words that matter. It is not repeating "I am rich" with no feeling. The subconscious responds to assumption, to embodiment, to the sense that something is already real. So when someone lies down at night, closes their eyes, and truly feels the weight of money in their hands, When they imagine the relief of bills already paid, or the joy of checking an account overflowing with abundance, the subconscious accepts it as true, and once accepted, it begins to express that truth through circumstances, opportunities, and encounters. This is why Neville placed such urgency on the state before sleep. It is the crossroads of creation, the place where one chooses between repeating the old story or stepping into the new. Night after night, most people unconsciously repeat the old. They rehearse arguments, relive failures, imagine worst-case scenarios, and then they wonder why tomorrow feels like yesterday. But the one who understands this law, who deliberately enters sleep carrying a vision of wealth already possessed, writes a new script upon the subconscious, and that script must unfold because imagination is reality in seed form. This is the mystery of sleep, not the end of the day, but the beginning of manifestation. If you've ever noticed how your mornings feel like a reflection of your last thoughts at night, share it in the comments. Your story might be the spark that helps someone else see the truth of this law. The power of SATs. Neville Goddard gave a name to this delicate threshold between wakefulness and sleep. He called it SATs, the state akin to sleep. It is not full sleep. It is not full wakefulness. It is the in-between, the twilight of consciousness where imagination is vivid and resistance is weak. Most people enter SATs every night without knowing it. They drift, their bodies heavy, their minds wandering. But they enter carrying fears, regrets, and memories of failure. And so, without realizing it, they imprint these states upon the subconscious. Neville's instruction was radical in its simplicity. Do not fall asleep as a beggar. Do not fall asleep as someone hoping, waiting, or pleading. Fall asleep as the one who already is. He taught that in SATs, one must assume the end, not the process, not the steps, not the how, but the finished state of the desire fulfilled. So, when the desire is wealth, one does not imagine working harder or chasing opportunities. One imagines already living in the abundance longed for, the account already full, the debt already gone, the relief already felt, the joy already lived. In this state, the body is relaxed, almost asleep. Breathing is slow. The world of senses fades. And yet, the imagination burns bright. It is here that one constructs the scene. A short, simple imaginal act that implies the wish fulfilled. Perhaps it is holding a bank statement with overflowing numbers. Perhaps it is a friend congratulating them on success. Perhaps it is the feeling of handing a gift bought freely without concern for money. Whatever the scene, it must carry emotion. For the subconscious accepts only what feels real. Neville warned, do not force. The scene must be effortless, repeated gently, like a lullaby. The goal is not to control sleep, but to let the body drift while the mind remains fixed in assumption. And here lies the secret. If one falls asleep inside the scene of wealth fulfilled, the subconscious takes it as truth. And once accepted as truth, reality must conform. This is SATs, not a ritual, not a superstition, but the most powerful doorway to creation, available every single night. It is the art of falling asleep, not as the old self, but as the new. If you're beginning to see how powerful this state truly is, give this video a like. It helps this teaching reach others who are still searching for answers. Assuming wealth before closing the eyes. It begins with a choice, a deliberate pause before surrendering to sleep. The decision, what state will I carry into the night? Neville Goddard insisted this moment is sacred, for it is here, in the stillness before dreams, that a person chooses the world they will awaken into. To assume wealth is not to repeat empty words. It is not saying, I am rich, while secretly feeling lack. It is to inhabit the feeling of already having what is desired, to dress oneself in abundance as though it were clothing for the soul. How is this done? First, the body must be stilled. Lie down comfortably, close the eyes, breathe slowly. Let the weight of the day fall away. Then summon a simple imaginal scene, one that implies wealth is already a fact. Perhaps it is sitting in a favorite chair, holding a check with unexpected numbers. Perhaps it is seeing the balance of an account and feeling the rush of gratitude. Perhaps it is something even smaller, a dinner paid for without hesitation, a gift given freely, a moment of financial ease. The key is simplicity. The scene must be short, repeatable, and emotionally charged. Now, enter the scene, not as an observer, but as a participant. Do not watch yourself. Be yourself. Feel the textures, the sounds, the emotions. Hear the pen scratching as you sign the check. Feel the cool metal of a credit card as it slides across the counter. Breathe the relief of bills already erased. Then let the emotion swell. Neville taught that feeling is the secret. The subconscious does not respond to logic, but to sensation. If wealth feels natural, if abundance feels real, then the subconscious must accept it. The scene may loop once, twice, or many times. Do not strain. Do not force. Gently let it play until the body surrenders to sleep. And here lies the power. When sleep takes you, it does so carrying the assumption of wealth. And what is assumed in sleep is expressed in waking life. To assume wealth before closing the eyes is to declare, I will not plant seeds of fear. I will not rehearse lack. Tonight, I choose abundance. This practice, repeated night after night, reprograms the subconscious. And once the subconscious is convinced, the outer world must reflect the inner conviction. Wealth then ceases to be a dream. It becomes the only possible outcome, the mistake that blocks manifestation. There is a danger hidden in this practice, a mistake so common that most people never notice they are making it. And yet, it is the very thing that prevents the subconscious from accepting wealth. The mistake is this: falling asleep in contradiction. Neville Goddard warned again and again, what matters is not the words spoken, but the state assumed. And many, without realizing, assume lack even as they claim abundance. They lie down at night whispering, I am rich, but in their chest they feel emptiness. They repeat affirmations, but in their imagination they see debts, worries, and unpaid bills. They speak of wealth, but they embody poverty. The subconscious does not listen to words. It listens only to the feeling behind them. This is why Neville declared, feeling is the secret. It is not about convincing the mind. It is about persuading the heart. It is about resting in the naturalness of the wish fulfilled. The error comes when one tries too hard. They strain. They force images. They try to make the scene real, rather than gently allowing it. And in that effort, they confirm to themselves, it isn't real yet. This is the contradiction. The attempt to become something instead of resting is the one who already is. Another common mistake is falling asleep rehearsing the day, replaying arguments, reviewing disappointments, worrying about tomorrow. These scenes too are accepted by the subconscious. And night after night, they solidify the very reality one longs to escape. The remedy is simple, though not always easy: surrender. Do not fight the old self. Do not wrestle with doubt. Simply shift attention. Choose one simple imaginal act that feels natural, and repeat it gently until sleep arrives. If doubt whispers, do not argue with it. Let it pass like a cloud. Return to the feeling of wealth fulfilled. Neville often compared this to a lullaby. One does not shout a lullaby. One does not strain to sing it. It is soft, repetitive, soothing. Until the child drifts into sleep, so too with the subconscious. The greatest mistake is fighting. The greatest secret is allowing. Fall asleep, not in contradiction, but in harmony with the end desired. Fall asleep is the wealthy self, and the subconscious, loyal and obedient, will build the world to match, awakening in a new world. And now, the circle is complete. The secret has been revealed. Not a complex ritual, not a distant philosophy, but a simple choice, repeated each night before surrendering to sleep. Neville Goddard's teaching was clear. The world is imagination pushed out, and the subconscious is the servant that brings imagination into form. To fall asleep in wealth is to awaken in wealth. To assume abundance in the silence of night is to live abundance in the light of day. This is not magic. It is law. The same law that has governed every dream, every creation, every identity since the beginning of time. So tonight, and every night that follows, the invitation is simple. Do not go to bed as the old self. Do not drift into sleep rehearsing lack, replaying worry, or repeating fear. Choose instead to fall asleep as the wealthy one, the abundant one, the one who already possesses the life they once only imagined. And when the eyes close with that assumption, the subconscious accepts it. And when the subconscious accepts it, the world cannot help but bend to reflect it. It may come through opportunities. It may come through unexpected gifts. It may come through inspired action rising naturally from within, but it will come, for the law cannot fail. This is the secret Neville guarded and gave freely. This is the practice that turns desire into reality, not someday, but beginning tonight. So ask yourself now, Who will you be when you close your eyes? The one who waits, or the one who already is? The choice is yours. The world will echo it. If this message has awakened something inside you, do not let it fade. Subscribe now so that each week you can dive deeper into Neville's teachings and practice them step by step. Like this video if it spoke to your heart, and share it with someone who needs to remember their power. And in the comments write, "Tonight I choose wealth." Let this be your declaration and let the world rise to meet it.